channel, Pamela Cribb. Dear friends, it gives me great pleasure to be with you again. I am so glad to be in your company. You have a tendency to look up to me, or to beings like me, as masters, but we do not see it that way. We see you following your path on earth at a challenging time, a time when much is changing, and we see you growing towards your own mastery. We see you becoming the masters that you still look up to at times. And this is what it is all about, finding your own mastery. Do not follow any master that is brought before you by tradition or by books or by anything someone else is telling you. Find your own mastery, that's what it's all about. Today I would like to speak about a theme that reaches back far into your history, the energies of the male and the female. These are old energies and a lot is going on with them right now. First, I would like to say something about the nature of the male and the female. These energies are two aspects of the one. They therefore are not really opposed or dualistic, they are one, they are two faces of one energy. The male energy is the aspect that is outwardly focused. It is that part of God or spirit that drives outward manifestation, that makes spirit materialize and take form. The male energy therefore knows a strong creative force. It is natural to the male energy to be highly focused and goal-oriented. In this manner the male energy creates individuality. The male energy allows you to separate yourself from the one, from the whole, and to stand alone and be a specific individual. The female energy is the energy of home. It is the energy of the primal source, the flowing light, pure being. It is the energy that has not yet manifested, the inner aspect of things. The female energy is all-encompassing and oceanic, it does not differentiate or individualize. Now, imagine the energy of the female becoming aware of a certain movement inside of her, a slight restlessness, a desire for, reaching out, outside of her boundaries, moving outside of herself to attain experience. There is a longing for something new, for adventure. And then an energy comes to her that answers that longing. It is the male energy that wants to be of service and help her manifest in matter, in form. The male energy defines and shapes the female energy, and by their cooperation the total sum of energies can take a completely new direction. A new reality can be created in which everything can be explored and experienced, in ever-changing forms of manifestation. The dance of the male and female brings forth the fluctuating spectacle of created reality, of your creation. This is a spectacle of great beauty wherein the male and female energy worship each other and celebrate their cooperation and playful joining. And this is as it should be. The male and female energy belong together, they are two aspects of the one, and together they celebrate the joyful manifestation that creation is supposed to be. It has been said that in the final realization of who you are, the only truth that matters is, I am. And in this mystical mantra, precisely those two aspects merge. In the I is the male energy, in the AM is the female energy. The I is constricting, differentiating. It gives focus, it gives direction, it individuates, I, not the other, I and then AM. AM is oceanic, all-encompassing. It reflects the ocean of home, the female energy, the inexhaustible source that knows no bounds, no differentiation. The flowing and joining aspect is the core of the female energy. In the I am, the male and female come together and blissfully join their energies. Now in the history of humanity, and even before humanity existed, a conflict arose between the masculine and the feminine. I shall not go into the origin of this conflict now. But in your history there is a drifting apart of male and female energies so that they appear as opposite forces. The yin-yang symbol demonstrates the true situation very well. In the masculine there is always a core of the feminine, and in the feminine there is a core of the masculine, just as there is a white dot in the black and a black dot in the white. But in the course of history, this mystical unity of the masculine and feminine has been forgotten, and these energies have become opposed to each other as black and white. The underlying unity was no longer recognized. Right now, you are in the last phase of this history of conflict, in which the male energy has played the part of the perpetrator for many centuries. The male energy has long been playing a part in which it oppresses, mutilates, and destroys the female energy. It was not always like that. There have been times in which the female energy had the upper hand and wrongly manipulated and ruled the male energy. But that time is over. The conflict took a different turn at a certain point and the roles of perpetrator and victim were reversed. The male energy has been in power for a long time now and has misused this power in such a fashion that the female energy has been weakened and does not realize the integrity of her being anymore. Whenever the masculine and feminine are in conflict, the disintegration of both is inevitable. Where the feminine gets victimized more and more and gets lost in self-denial, the masculine energy loses itself in ruthless violence and the kind of aggression you know from the many wars in your past. The masculine and the feminine depend on one another. When they battle each other, the consequences are disastrous. But times are changing. Since the 19th and 20th centuries, the female energy is regaining its strength and rising above the role of victim. This resurrection comes from deep within the feminine energy. She has finally reached the outer limit of her self-denial. At this point she has looked herself in the face and has stated, "This is as far as it goes." By the way, this is how it always goes in the dynamic between victim and perpetrator. Change starts when the victim refuses to accept any more. The perpetrator could well hang on to his role for a longer while, for he has less of a reason to stop. Revolution starts where the victim refuses to accept any more and finally takes back her power. In all situations of repression, for example of women in their family or in society, the real moment of change is when the woman or the feminine energy within a person decides for herself, "I will not take this any longer." This is when change truly starts to happen. External measures are useless until this moment presents itself. The female energy has arisen and its star is rising. Actually, the most urgent matter in this time and age is the transformation of the male energy. It is now time for a new definition of male energy. I could have easily called this channeling the rebirth of the male energy. For I want to stress that it is only in reunion with a matured and balanced male energy that the female energy can flourish again. The female energy has in the past century and even before that regained power and strength. It has begun to flourish in a new and more balanced way. Despite the inequality of the sexes that is still present in your society, the rise of the female energy is unstoppable. However, the female energy cannot gain full strength and vitality without cooperation with the male energy. This goes for the collective level as well as the individual. The female energy cannot make its final breakthrough without the support of and connection with the male energy. This is not because of an inherent weakness in the female energy. It is because of the essential nature of male and female energies, the fact that they are intertwined and can only fulfill their brightest potentials in cooperation. This is why it is imperative now that the male energy reshape itself and venture into the new. When you look at the interplay between male and female on a collective level, the female energy is now in a position of waiting. She is waiting. At present there is a struggle going on within the collective male energy between the old and the new. A new wave of energy is dawning within the collective male energy that honors and respects the female energy. This new wave of male energy wants to join with the female and together enter the new age. But at the same time an older wave of male energy is still active and trying to persist. This energy is clearly working in the series of terrorist attacks that has taken place all over your world. The male energy in its old role of heartless aggressor is thereby showing its nasty side. In the ones who commit these horrendous attacks there are very dark emotions, aggression, anger, and at the same time utter powerlessness and helplessness. It is from this utter helplessness that they appeal to the most brute and destructive types of power display. This male energy we are speaking of is in its death agonies. It senses that there are important changes going on collectively and that humanity is on the threshold of a new era. One of the problems you are now facing, while growing towards a more balanced cooperation between male and female, is how to deal with this kind of ruthless energy. What are we going to do about this old male energy that is trying to create as much havoc and destruction as possible in its downfall? Let me tell you this, its downfall is a fact. The struggle has been lost by the old male energy, but it will not surrender easily and it will resist to the very last with aggression and merciless attempts at domination. Much will depend on how the inner collective attitude will be to these aggressors. Will you allow anger and powerlessness into your own energy field as a reaction to acts of violence? Then you open up to the energy field of the aggressors. At the very moment you feel overpowered by anger and resentment toward them, they have reached their target. You are then sucked into their energetic vibration and you would be willing to kill as well, kill the murderers of the innocent. This is all very understandable, but is it vital to realize what's happening here? As soon as there are intense emotions rising up, it is wise to make a pause, in silence. Go back to the quiet, knowing part of you and ask, what is really going on here? It is all about your wisdom and discernment now, your ability to see through things and to feel what really is at stake. The world will not be taken over by terrorist powers, the old male energy has served its time and its dying hour is at hand.